Hey guys, we're live on the moon. Early. Thursday morning, 5:12 a.m. Another all-nighter for Bill. The 10th of May. And it's a real bright moon tonight, guys. I got the 19 millimeter in there. I don't have any barlow. And as you can see, it's a real pretty moon. But see the craters are kind of overpowering in some cases. I'll turn the isn't that pretty, guys? I turn the brightness down, and then you can see some of the detail of those brighter craters. But if I turn it up, it's a blue moon, guys. It's a blue moon. I have the color up about 10%. If I turn it all the way down, see how the color goes up, but I turn it up a little bit, and you can see, you've heard the song Blue Moon, Blue Moon. Well, this is a blue moon, and if you go up and look in the sky, it looks blue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of do a survey. We're going to go south here and kind of look at the whole moon, and then we're going to zoom up the shadow line and see what we can see. It's a really beautiful moon tonight. I'm tempted to put in a filter, but well, I might change my mind. Let's turn the brightness down. See, that Tycho is just overpowering. When you go up and look in the sky and you see that one crater, that big crater, that's Tycho, and that's what we're looking at right there. And isn't that pretty? Look at that! Look at that! What did we just see? Well, obviously we saw a bug or ice or a bat. Clearly that was a bat that was flying vertically right from the bottom to the top. And the other one was obviously a bug. I encourage you guys to be observant and comment on what you do see. I'm not here to shove any agenda down anybody's throat. I'm here to show you what I see. I can tell you one thing. It's a bug-free night outside Richmond, Texas, and not a bird in the sky. And there aren't any planes flying. Isn't that pretty, guys? So I'm tired, absolutely just tired, trying to tell people what I think it is, and you're never going to believe me no matter what, because there's always people that are going to not believe it or believe the other thing or whatever. Now that's a real pretty that mountain range on the left side, kind of going from I'll center it. That's the Alps, to give you some kind of bearing. And turn the brightness down. The Alps are kind of centered. That crater at the large crater coming in on the 12 o'clock is Plato, and just below that is Archimedes. And the star crater is, isn't that beautiful? Is Aristillus to the right. And then we have the Alps. And then we have the Sea of Serenity centered. See that? Sea of Serenity centered. And below the Sea of Serenity is the Sea of Tranquility. centered. See? But I'm going to hone in on something, guys. See what I'm looking at right on that shadow line. See, some things come out. I've indicated this before. Okay, there's a crater that's centered right now on the shadow line. It's called Isidorus. And we're going to zoom in on that right now, because look at the mountains that are around. See, when I zoom in, let me turn the right light and auto on, and that way it'll kick in. Look at the mountains. I'm concentrating on that centered crater. Okay. And turn the brightness down a little bit. Isn't that pretty? Now that little crater to the 8 o'clock of Isidorus, it's called Madler. And Madler crater is 27 kilometers wide, or 16 miles wide. That'll give you an idea of how close we are. Let's continue to go in and see what we can see. And let me turn the contrast down just a dab, and the brightness down just a dab. A hornet's nest crater. And then let's center Theophilus crater, which is that larger crater with a pile of rocks. See that pile of rocks? Okay, this is a good place. Let me pause to refresh. Black Tiger coffee. And let me change the lenses to a barlow, and let's take a look at the pile of rocks and the mountain and see if we can get a little closer. This is a vexing problem for me. This pile of rocks that we see in the middle of these craters. I really wonder what in the hell they are. I mean, how they got there and the whole deal. So let me let's zoom back out, and we will put it on pause and change into a barlow. That's a neat thing about this this rig, the way I have it set up. Not only can I put a barlow, and I can take that lens out, that 19 millimeter, and put in a 5. I can do whatever I want to. You know, astronomers deal around with their lenses. You know, well, I got to put me an 18 in there, or I'll put a 27, or I'll put a 33, I'll put a 5. You know, they have fun. That's what astronomy is all about, fiddling around with lenses and getting the best image and everything. Well, with this camera, the way I have it set up, that's exactly what I can do. Most telescope cameras, you can't do that. Hang with me, guys. Putting a barlow in there, the Teleview Paramate Barlow. Okay, guys, we're back. Got this 2.5 Paramate, and there's our Theophilus crater with the pile rocks, and there's Isidorus with its mountain. Now let's, I don't have it zoomed in at all. Let's do some zooming and see what we can see. And adjust the brightness up. Well, see, it's got to be a happy medium. I'll bring it over here. I'll put it kind of right in the middle. Look at the details of the mountain range. Let's work the focus a little bit on this. I'll turn autofocus on. Autofocus is on. Well, let's zoom in all the way just to see what we can see. And on Isidorus. And see, that's about it. That crater at the 7 o'clock position, that little crater is 16 miles wide. And you get what they call the maximum effective power of the telescope. You exceed that, which you can do easily with this telescope, and it becomes kind of blurry. That right there, probably that picture right there is 480 power. It'll give you an idea. But when I go in, I'm probably, you know, going 800 power or whatever, and it just, there's only so much you can do with the telescope. The only way you can improve the quality of the image beyond that is by increasing the size of the telescope. And Mike and I are thinking about doing that on this. Now let's check that pile of rocks out. And it looks like it's a series of mountains. I'm counting 1, 2 peaks. They look like the Matterhorn mountains on the moon, guys. And then there's a kind of a range of mountains. Well, let's zoom in so you can see the fuzziness, but you can still see you got 2 peaks and then you got a range. 2 peaks are at the see, when I bring it back out a little bit, it'll become clearer. But you can see a lot of texture in the let me turn the brightness up in the image. Okay, let's let's leave the barlow in for right now and kind of work this shadow line. And see how the sun is changing on us. Let me turn the color down. And look at the mountain range, kind of turning the contrast down a little bit. See how when I do that I can bring out more of the detail of the shadow line. Now there's something interesting. What in the hell is that? See how now when we're looking at this more, it looks like it's sand. I mean, it looks like, because the light is changing. And let me adjust the focus again manually. Okay, isn't that a pretty picture, guys? And let me zoom in on that whatever it is. It's a little range of mountains in the middle of a mar. See? And look at the mountains right up here at the edge. Now that's a remarkable picture, guys. Let's work that image. You can actually see. Let me turn autofocus on. And let's back out one click. Isn't that a remark? Take a close look at what I'm showing you guys. If you were a little spaceman and you were kind of walking around in those that would look like box canyons, there are peaks of mountains, and you can somewhat see them in this picture. Let me zoom in and see if we can. You can see what I'm trying to show you. I'll center the. See that peak right there? It's kind of centered. Right there, centered. It kind of looks like it's sticking up in the air, and there's another one centered. Well, there are a couple pointing right up in the air. See how they look like they're pipe organs. They go right up into the air, and they're all over that place. Back out a little bit, and let's isolate that. Let me tell you where that is. Well, I'm not sure where it is. Let's see. Oh, I had tunneling on. Oh, I see where it is. That large crater at the 10 o'clock position is Posidonius. And that mountain range that we're looking at is called where the pipe organ craters are Rimae Romer Mountains, and just north of Rimae Cornac. So this is an incredible series of mountains. If you look at it really close, that kind of stick like the Matterhorn right up into the air. I mean, let's go all the way in just for the hell of it. You can see, if you look close, you can see some of them that really are pointing right up in the air. It's like what they are on reflection. It looks to me like they're pipe organ craters, which means that they're hornet nest craters that kind of got fragmented, and we're looking at the mountains are actually the rims of the craters that were fragmented, and they look like they're peaks. That's an incredible shot. I'll get out of focus again. You never know what you're going to see on the moon, guys. Every time I come up here, it's an adventure. I hope you guys are doing well. I wasn't planning on doing the moon tonight because it was cloudy. And then, oh no, isn't that interesting? Look at the texture. Look at the way the mountain, you can see the way the mountains are coming in. And with the shadow, you can just, isn't that an interesting shot right there? Look at those two craters on the left. And that one crater is Isidorus. Isidorus. And I'll center Isidorus. Isidorus right there centered. And Plato is on our left. And that little crater, let's work this image a little bit. Let me turn the color up just a little bit. See how it's kind of a blue moon? You got a blue tinge. And let's zoom in to Locus Mortis, right there. And in particular, there's two things I'm interested in this crater. Let me turn the autofocus on. See how it tripped in? Look at what appears to be a mountain. I'm not sure what that is, guys. Right there at the edge. What in the hell are we looking at? It's probably another pipe organ, the rim of a pipe organ crater. Well, that is a remarkable picture right there. Okay, let's continue to go up. No, that's not a UFO on the upper left-hand corner. That is not a bug. That is a little dust on my lens. And see, I have the color. See, now there's a good example of the color. I got the color up just a little bit, but you can still see out. It'll bring out the browns and the blues of the mar. And see how when the light hits it the right way, you can see what's below the surface. And that crater right there is Aristarchus. Isn't that really pretty? That is really pretty, guys. See, it went into focus. Autofocus is on. Beautiful shots, guys. You can tell how close we are by looking at the edge of the moon and seeing how flat it is whenever I do these circumference pans. Anyhow, I've been getting a lot of interest in my stuff. I'm very glad to see that. I would encourage if you're in school, you know, if you're in kindergarten, that you talk your parents into getting you a telescope. No, if you're in college or in high school or whatever, now there is Clavis. There's our friend Clavis. See that crater? I'll center it. Centered. And let me turn up the brightness a little bit. See, it tripped in automatically. Clavis is that large crater with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 craters in the middle, or 4 in the middle, on one on the edge. Matter of fact, let's zoom in on Clavis since we have it here. And turn the brightness up a little bit. That's Clavis. Now see, if we had a 14-inch scope, and that's what we're thinking about getting. Mike's thinking about getting a 14-inch. And look at that. I filled Clavis, filled the whole damn screen up with Clavis, guys. That's pretty good. Pretty good. And see how it's moving around. What I've been doing lately is to help, and you can see the moon getting bigger. You can see it getting bigger just because the night is wearing on and it's getting higher in the sky. Okay, let's go to the edge here. I still have this barlow in, so let's not waste it. Let's see if there's something else we can see. It's worth going into. There's the all-seeing eye on the moon, the eye of the Illuminati, right there in front of you, centered. Well, it's a little below center. Centered. Take a look at that series of craters. I call it the all-seeing eye. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that kind of are look like they're in a circle. Let me zoom into it so you can see. And when you look at it the other way, it looks like an eye. See how it's an eye? It looks like a cat eye with little things around it. Well, if you look at it a certain, and look at the texture. I'm zoomed in a little bit. You look at the texture on the surface. Isn't that neat? We're really getting in pretty close, guys. And look at the fissures. See that little mountain range coming up on the center right now? Isn't that interesting? See, if you were Tom Corbet, space cadet, walking around there with your breathers on up that valley, it would look like death. It would look like you're going from Death Valley to the Grand Canyon. It would be so steep. It would be an incredible shot. See on the center of the mountains I'm looking at right there. They look like the rim of an extremely large crater that existed one time. And the shadow, I mean, it really brings it out. And look at the detail of the crater right there below with the stuff in the middle. Let's go in one more click of zoom. 2. We're getting really pretty good images, guys. And we're looking at Isidorus, and that, again, to give you an idea that we're pretty close. That crater in the mountain range on the left, on the right, is Isidorus, and the crater, I'll center it, the one in the middle. Look at the texture. See, that way, when you see that, you know you're getting in there pretty close. Okay, it's look at the texture. That's really pretty cool. Centered. Madler crater, 16 miles wide. That means if you look around Madler crater, see all those little dots kind of things? Those are a mile wide. Let's zoom in on Madler. That's a damn good shot for a zoom with texture. I mean, that looks incredible with texture. Now look at the mountain. Look at the Matterhorn in the middle of that mountain. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that an incredible shot? Look at the Theophilus on the left with the Matterhorn, what I call the Matterhorn mountain in the middle. And then take a look at Isidorus and the kind of texture around the. See how it comes in and out of focus as the moon gets higher in the sky. It becomes clear. Let's back out. As we back out, you'll see it'll become even clearer yet. That's probably 480 power right there. Wonderful, wonderful shots, guys. And what we're looking at right now is the Sea of Tranquility. And just looking at it makes you think calm. and peace in the world. And there's the pipe organ craters right there that we were looking at that look like little mini Matterhorns. And see on the left, what's on the left? That's a Sea of Serenity. And if you look at the edge of the Sea of Serenity, in this light you can see it. We've never been able to see this before. There's a mountain range. And these are the Andreas Mountains. And I think we can see details of that peak right there. Look at that mountain range. See how it canvases the top of the crater of the Sea of Tranquility, or the Serenity is what we're looking at. And right kind of under my smudge on my lens, you can see the peaks. Let's zoom in even a little bit more. Look at this. This is something else. Let's go down. These controls get really... look at that. Now, see, it looks like a mountain range. It looks like the... let me see if I can work the image a little bit. Let's zoom out so you get an idea where we're at. But they look like the Rocky Mountains, and there's two craters right on the top of the mountains. And they're really close to the Apollo landing site. See, every time we look at this, we look at things in a different light. And that's the joy of astronomy. You're looking at this stuff. Let me turn the contrast up a little bit. The Apollo landing site is right in that area. But at this angle, that's the first time we've looked at this particular area in this light. Okay, that's a good place to cut it off. It was a good session, a real good session. And what really struck my fancy was the Sea of Serenity and the Sea of Tranquility, but up next to the Sea of Tranquility, we've got a very interesting crater called Isidorus that's in the mountains, and look at the texture and everything else. Guys, wishing you and yours clear skies, guys.